Hello, Namaskar and Adab to all my friends from your friend astrologer and guide Irfan, once more with you from your very own channel Astro Assurance. One of the questions which is important in our lives is that apart from what purpose of our life is it truly possible to achieve enlightenment? And what is enlightenment? It is about being able to know or being lighted up with the awareness of a higher realm, which probably has not been revealed to us. But what does enlightenment mean? Is it only about being revealed the truth, or are there various types of truth? So for example, it is said that all this world, all this life is Moh Maya. That which exists is all something which is not actually in existence. It is only that we see through our eyes, through our own truth, that certain things are revealed. But only when we are able to look beyond our own expectations, beyond the mirrors that we have put, or beyond the glasses that we have put before our eyes, all which has been programmed to us, when we are able to look beyond, is that when we reach true enlightenment. Now, is there enlightenment possible through a horoscope? Are people given the chance of enlightenment, and how do we see through astrological means and through the horoscopes? So, number of people will tell you that enlightenment means this, enlightenment means that. So, let me first give you a disclaimer. I don't know what enlightenment means, because I am not somebody who is enlightened, at least not yet. So, I am no expert in enlightenment, so I can't tell you what enlightenment means and how to achieve that. I can just tell you what the various books, ancient books, what the auspicious books, what the holy books have told us about enlightenment, and what holy people who we have accepted has been those people who have got enlightenment, how they have explained to us what enlightenment means. Now, for various religions, various ways to achieve enlightenment have been revealed through the holy books. For example, the Sufi saints, for them enlightenment means knowledge and being aware. And what is that awareness? One is, there is not one realm of enlightenment or knowing the truth. There are various levels, and each level has its own truth. And only when you have traversed through the different realms and reached the highest realm, where you get the ultimate enlightenment, or you get the knowledge of the ultimate truth, where you are not just with the Brahman, highest form of energy, but you are Brahman itself. How can you be not just with Brahman, but with Brahman itself? Because, and this has also been proved by science, that all matter comes from energy, and there is one source of energy, or all energy comes from one source. Even the Big Bang, after which everything was created, the entire universe or multiverses were created, it all came from one source of energy, and that energy was converted into matter, and all the planetary systems and their life originated. So everything came from one energy, the supreme energy. So for the supreme energy, we are all its progeny, and that's why most of the holy books talk of only two forms, or in fact all the holy books, all the holy texts talk of only two ways, two things that you are in this life for. All of us in this life, or the life that we have been given, are in it only for two reasons. That is to serve Him, the supreme energy, and to serve Him, the supreme energy. Now, did I say two different things, or did I say one thing? I said two different things using the same sentence. What does it mean to serve Him? Or whatever gender you may want to give, because we use the word Him, so I am using the word Him here in the context of the supreme energy. First and the most formidable way to serve Him is to serve all that which comes from Him, which means that to serve humanity, and not just humanity, to serve all inanimate objects around you, is to serve Him, because all the inanimate objects, also are from matter or made of matter, and all matter has come from the supreme energy. So when you take care of even the most inanimate things which are around you, you are taking care of the supreme energy itself. When you destroy most inanimate objects, most useless things also around you, you are directly destroying or trying to destroy energy. Now energy cannot be destroyed, it can be converted from one form to the other. So when you destroy inanimate objects, you are releasing energy. That release energy goes back into the universe to be used by somebody else. So when you destroy matter, when you spoil things around you, you are releasing energy for somebody else, and you're not releasing or using that energy for self. The more you take care of things, the more energy is given to you. The more you destroy things, even those things which you think to be dead things or useless things, even those have energy in them, and that all comes from the Supreme Lord. And that's why for somebody who doesn't understand even the basic level, at a level of existence, we feel if we use plastic or we throw plastic in the water, so what happens? We are not doing anything. You are not killing something. But when you throw plastic into the water, you are destroying the source of oxygen, which in turn kills animals. So why is this all connected? Because we are all connected through the same strands of energy, and that's why the supreme energy has connected everything around us. And that's why our seemingly innocent things or very small menial activities can also overall affect the capacity to serve Him, to serve humanity. And that's why it's important that to serve Him is to serve all humanity, and the basic level of serving humanity is not to destroy, not to spoil, but to respect. And so acceptance that everybody is different, everybody may have different values, they may come from seemingly different sources, though we all come from the same source, and to accept that they all have come from the same energy, and not to differentiate between castes, creeds, communities, religion is important. The moment you go into the differences of caste, you go into differences of community, you go into differences of religion. For instance, if a Muslim calls a Hindu a kafir and says this person doesn't serve the Supreme Being, he doesn't pray to Him, or Hindu calls Muslim somebody who doesn't understand the Sanatan Dharma and is anti-national or something like that, then when you are labeling anybody as bad or pointing fingers or creating these differences, first thing you're doing is creating differences of all that come from the same energy. So that's why differences between color, a white person looking down on the person who is a dark skin, a person of Indian ethnicity looking down on somebody coming from somebody who looks like a Chinese. So people who are from our own country but who are from states like Assam or Manipur, sometimes we look down upon them and we call them chinky, or we call them some other names, which is again being very disrespectful, because they come from our own country. And even if they don't come from our own country, they come from some other country, calling people names because of their looks, of the color, is being not respecting the highest creation Himself. And that's why it goes beyond socially accepted norms. It is not about socially we should not do this, or it is against civil society to do this. It is against the Supreme Being itself. And that's why you are not aware of, even at the basic level of the truth, or acceptance of the truth that everything comes from the Supreme Energy, when you do this, when you create differences. And such people will never get to know the higher truth, or they will never be given a chance to move up. In fact, these people have been singled out. The moment you get into these differences, these people have been singled out to remain in that the lowest realm that exists. And because they remain there, they will never know the truth, they will not understand the truth, and even if you try to tell them, they will put you down. The other levels, as described by various ancient texts, is that the other way to serve the highest being, the highest energy, is to pray to him, to accept his existence, and to acknowledge him and to submit to him. Without accepting that the highest form of energy exists and the highest form of energy deserves our appreciation, our recognition and an acknowledgement through prayers or praise. Whatever way you pray or praise him, through doing the salah or the namaz or going to the temple or going to the church, whatever way you do it, by praising it or praising him, by acknowledging him, by praying to him and submitting to his will is the other form of service to him. And the first serving and the second serving is connected, because the second serving where you are submitting to him or submitting to his will is also submitting to the text that he has sent you through various messages and messengers, through sages. And what do they all say? They all say serve humanity. And that is the message. So when you pray to him, you acknowledge him and you accept him, the highest form of energy, then you will also listen to him. And the listening part is serving humanity, serving everything around you, not destroying even inanimate objects, respecting even a stone on the road to a speck of dust, and understanding this is also part of him. And so whether you pray to the highest energy through a speck of dust which also comes from him or directly to him, it is all praising the highest form of energy and acknowledging that it exists and being submitting to him. So this is very, very important. That is the first realm of accepting, submitting and being grateful and serving humanity. Now the other realm is, as mentioned in the ancient texts, is about that when you are given knowledge of the other realms through siddhis as certain favors, lot of sages and holy men request, or through the siddhi or through their penance, sometimes even without wanting any higher form of energy, but just to in their penance and in the love and affection, they get so much involved in their penance, in their meditation, that they are able to move up the astral plane, because the Lord himself, the high energy itself, comes down at a realm and raises the soul of this person who is committing, who is indulging in penance and meditation, and brings itself down to that energy and lifts this astral level of this sage up, where they can interact, and that level of truth is given to that person, where he understands beings and energies beyond himself. So a lot of Sufi saints are aware of jinns, as mentioned in the Holy Quran and in many of the hadiths, where the presence of other energies around us who are maybe different from us. Jinns are made of fire, and knowledge of them, and sometimes also being able to interact with them, and sometimes even utilizing them. So a lot of Sufi Babas who have really attained that level of enlightenment, and they understand one level beyond us, they understand jinns, they are able to interact with them, and they are able to utilize them also, sometimes even in a diabolical means. And that's why sometimes those energies are taken away from such Babas, so-called Babas, if they misuse those energies which have been given to them. Then the third level is where you are able to understand, and you are given the power to know, not just at our astral plane or immediately around us on earth, say for example, but planes beyond us, beyond our solar system, around us, what beings exist, what are the energies which exist, some of which we are not aware. We don't understand how the planetary forces act upon us, and that's why scientifically people say, how does astrology work? How does Jupiter influence us, and that to give us wisdom? How does Venus influence materialism? How does Saturn influence our work ethics, karma, and so forth? So that knowledge is given to us at a higher realm, where how all the energies come together and manifest the order, the supreme order. So that is another realm, another level which is given to us. And that's how, when you keep moving through realms, the presence of other universes and the concept of time is explained. Is time linear, or everything exists at the same time? that is given to us. And that's why sages at a certain level, when they go, their life and death is not very important for them. They can easily change form, they can easily move between life forms, and they understand how that is done. You call it genetic mapping, DNA changing, or whatever you want to call it. Science has not gone to the level, they are given that. And even higher level is where you are able to move through the astral planes by just the by just thought, and you are able to ride on your thought to reach anywhere in the universe and interact with other astral beings. As it said in the Quran, kun means to happen or to be, and it is done. So that kind of power is given to people at a much higher realm, where they can just ask something to be done, and that is done. And that's why many instances are there in a holy text where a lot of people used to approach sages and sadhus and ask for favors, all kinds of favors. And when the sadhu would or the sage would ask, what do you want, they would ask A favor or B favor. It was just granted by saying kun, or to be, and it was done. All ancient texts are replete with some such examples, from Narasimha to Ravana. So many sages have given so many boons to ordinary human beings, to demons, to even other gods who have been given powers from one to the other. So such powers are known, we are aware of them, they have all replete in our ancient books. So astrologically, how does one achieve enlightenment? First is, through astrological placements, first thing is to not follow materialism or chase materialism. The more you praise Venus or follow Venus for materialism, rather than look at the higher level of Venus. Venus has the knowledge of Sanjeevani, which even Jupiter doesn't have. So understanding and valuing life, Shukranu, the word Shukra for Venus comes from the word Shukranu. Shukranu is sperm. Some sperms are supposed to give life by uniting with the mother's egg. And so the tantric level of knowledge, which Shiva gave to Parvati, is another realm of enlightenment, another level of enlightenment which is given to some sadhus and some sages. But again, those sadhus and sages may also misuse them. I have made a video on whether using tantric means can change your future, change certain events in life also. You may want to see that. So various realms, various levels of enlightenment or knowledge have been described and has been explained, what they mean, what they allow us to achieve, and how by penance and through meditation and being selfless and being accepting of the highest energy and submitting to His will rather than chasing materialism, is then becoming eligible for reaching out to the highest truth. Just like unless you are 18, at least in the subcontinent, unless you are 18, you are not allowed to even sit behind the steering wheel of a car. Only when you are eligible, then you can try to drive and attain a license. So 18 years is only eligibility. Similarly, the minimum eligibility to reach enlightenment or to even ask for enlightenment is where for entire life, almost your entire life, you have done penance, you have done meditation, you have accepted the supreme energy, you have completely submitted to His will, you have completely led a life of selflessness and gratitude, not feeling sad, not feeling lost, not feeling that I have not been given favor, Lord has not done this for me, Lord has not done that for me, somebody else has got so much money, I have not got children, somebody else has great health, I have not been given health. But to accept that in any way, any form you are, that is just an experience that we have come here to have. And that's why not differentiating between a rich person and another rich person, because we are all here to experience different forms of pains, to experience different forms of pleasure, to experience different forms of happiness, and through that experiencing know the higher self. And that's why there is no difference between a very, very poor man who has come to experience poverty and a very rich man who has been given the chance to experience richness. The same high energy has sent two different forms, one to experience poverty and another to experience richness, and another to experience pain, another to experience separation, and through all these experiences, the Supreme Energy experiences various forms of emotions, existence, pain, pleasure, and through that higher wisdom is achieved. And that's why the Supreme Energy is also evolving through better knowledge of itself, and all this happens through manifesting that energy through us. And that's why it's very, very important that we don't even understand the truth. We don't understand what the Supreme Energy is, how, why all the creation has been done, and what the Supreme Energy wants at the highest level to achieve, and why this whole creation has been. Some texts talk about the Supreme Energy just wants to experience itself, wants to be raise itself to a higher level of consciousness, and because it is evolving every day, it is important for us to evolve for the final highest evolution of the Supreme Energy to happen. If we don't evolve while being a part of that energy, the highest energy doesn't evolve. And so being ready for all sorts of experiences, not being sad in one experience of the other, accepting even sadness as an experience, and even being exhilarating that we are going through a karma, while living out a karma, is important to be eligible to reach the next level of truth and enlightenment. And only when we are eligible, and then we give up all our requirements, the worldly requirements, and completely serve humanity, and are ready to accept whatever the high energy is throwing at us through experiences, through events, through situations in life, and being eligible for the truth, then the truth may be given to you. Sometimes when we ask for truth and we do penance, we do meditation, may also be given the truth. But doing it over many lives gives you a high level of enlightenment. From an astrological point of view, the placement of Jupiter and Ketu are very, very important for, I'm not talking about moksha here, I'm talking about enlightenment. Why? Ketu is the planet of giving up everything, of negation. And not having the head, not having the mouth means Ketu is in a way connected to reaching out to the Supreme Energy, because Ketu doesn't have a desire, it's desireless. And that's why Ketu's placement is important. Jupiter, because wisdom cannot be achieved without having a strong Jupiter. So the placement of these two are important. The more Jupiter and Ketu are connected to any of the mind planets and the Lagna and the 12th house of spirituality, then higher realms are achieved. 8th house connections to the 12th house and the 1st house, between a Ketu, a Jupiter, a Moon and a Saturn, very, very karmic planets, give us higher opportunities or placements where we can reach enlightenment. So let's dive into and see what are the various shlokas, what are the astrological texts talking about, or placements about how you can reach enlightenment. The holy books say the truly enlightened one is the one in which the light of all knowledge has entered. Only then can one be enlightened of being in the light. But the question arises, can one know everything or all? The answer is, at a base level, no. Because there is just too much to know, and it will not come at a base level of existence. And then comes understanding of the knowledge, and that is mind-boggling. For instance, can one know everything just about one area of life? That question belies the answer. The Gita says, Ya nisha sarvo bhutanama tasyam jakati sayami yasya jagrati bhutani sa nisha pachyato mune. I translate, that which is night for most of the human beings, the self-control keeps awake in those hours. That which is daylight for most of the human beings, for the self-control, that is the night. Which means that what is the truth for the enlightened one is not the truth for us. And that which is the truth for the enlightened is not revealed to everyone. The meaning of a life is that of a spiritual aspirant who tries to achieve the highest level through means given to us. The one who wants to be truly enlightened has to be spiritual, and the one who is such an aspirant will have to go to the opposite direction of those who are materialistic. The majority are not aware of life's higher purpose, which is transcendental. They do not probe life deeply and seek questions to answers like what the meaning and purpose of human life is. Because for them, life is only food, sex and sleep. The Gita goes on, Tulsan Ninda Stutir Mauni Santushto Yena Kenchita Aniketa Stil Matir Bhaktimana Priyo Nara. I translate, he for whom praise and criticism is the same is contented, has no house of his own to live in, has lack of material desires, has a stable mind, such a devotee is dear to me. Unquote. So, a person for whom criticism and praise does not have any meaning, has no material desires, has a steady mind, is the one who the highest form of energy resonates with. So the truly enlightened understand the fallacy of acquiring riches and being in materialistic pursuits, and submits to God's will in whatever state He keeps him without wishing for or aspiring for anything, and leading a truly submissive life, waiting for fruits in the hereafter. It is said in the Valmiki Ramayana, Yada charati kalyani shubham va yadi va shubha tadeva labate bhadre karta karmaj atmanam. I translate, whatever auspicious or inauspicious deeds man does, he gets happiness or agonies accordingly. Unquote. Which means that we ourselves are a creator of our own happiness and our own agonies, and we seldom take responsibility for those. We think everything comes from the supreme energy, and it is He who puts us through the various travails of life. In the Markandeya Purana, some characteristics of men who have come from the lower world or hell are described such. Number 1, indulging in malicious criticism. 2, lacking a sense of gratitude. 3, disclosing others' secrets. 4, cruelty and harshness. 5, indulging in adultery and extramarital tendencies. 6, depriving others through fraudulent practices. 7, remaining unclean or being unhygienic. 8, condemning divine and spiritual life. 9, cheating others through guile. 10, miserliness. And 11, murdering. So anyone who indulges in all these are obviously people who come from the lowest of the lower realms, and hence if we indulge in any of these or more of these, we are condemning ourselves to the lowest realm of being below humanity as well. So the first step towards knowing is giving up that which stops one from knowing or growing, because knowing is growing. Without knowledge, there is no growth. So the first steps towards growing or becoming enlightened is to lead life of sinlessness. The Garga Samhita gives the following symptoms of men who have come from the higher world. Number 1, the one who does charities. 2, speaks in a cultured and sweet manner. 3, prays. 4, respects and serves the spiritual and sattvic people. So, a life of good and goodness is the second step towards enlightenment or self-realization, if not knowing everything else. Belief in karma is an evolutionary stage in spiritual life leading towards enlightenment. True liberation is based on 2 truths. 1, kindness is spirituality, and 2, cruelty is not. The Hora says so about the synonyms of Mercury. Saumya, Gontra, Udeshchite, Somjo, Bodhanstya, Atay, Somastya, Paryay, Kumarachya, Prabhasuta. I translate. Saumya relating to Soma or the moon, Jnana relating to knowledge, Buddha relating to intelligence, Somaja relating to son of moon, Bodhana enlightening, Kurnara heir apparent in the planetary kingdom, and Prabhasuta son of Prabha are Mercury's synonyms. And hence Mercury is directly connected to enlightenment, because Mercury is a planet of analysis and knowledge through communication. Having the power of communicating with the higher real and letting go of all materialism through higher level of analysis are the powers attained through a high Mercury or even an exalted Mercury when combined with other forces such as Jupiter or Ketu. So while moon may help you to think and Jupiter may give you the wisdom, it is Mercury of Buddha which gives you the analytical mind to understand or rise and be enlightened. And seldom is this planet given more importance such as Jupiter. Every decision of ours we can take at 4 levels. The level 1 is, I am hungry, what do we have that I can eat? This is the level of acceptance and submission, that I will eat whatever is available. I submit to the will of the superior most force of accepting whatever he has given me. The level 2 is, I am hungry, I feel like eating a pizza today. This second level is the carnal level of base or carnal desire to eat what you like to eat to satisfy craving or the senses. The level 3 is, I am hungry, what can I eat which is nourishing for my body and healthy? This is a higher conscious level where I think about what to eat at a higher level than carnal desires, but still at a materialistic level. And the level 4 is, I am hungry, what can I eat which will help my soul? What can I eat that will uplift my soul? What will help me rise? This level is the heightened conscious level where you are thinking at the level of the soul itself. But to know the food of the soul is not easy and not given to all. The 4th level is where the person who wants to eat will question the source of the food itself, whether it has been acquired with the right and legitimate means, whether no harm has been done to nature or others to procure it, and whether it will soil the soul. You don't want to partake of anything which will not be uplifting the soul or will bring it down. And this is not just about eating, but every action you do. The one who accepts all that is available without thinking and giving into God's will, but will do no harm, no wrong, will lead an austere and spiritual life, such is the person at the base level of enlightenment, of acceptance. It is said in the Bible, ask and you shall be given. Ask and the doors will be opened. Ask and you should be delivered. And hence, asking is important. But so is being deserved. Friends, now that we have looked into some of the placements, we talk about enlightenment, what are the situations in which you can get that, what it means when you are raising yourself to higher realms, what planetary energies are involved, and how you can achieve that. Please look into your own horoscopes and turn away from materialism. Learn to be ready for all that the high energy throws at you, and yet be grateful, yet be mindful, yet be giving, yet be serving to others, and maybe you will also be eligible for enlightenment. If you are looking for an astrological consultation from me, please reach out to me at the links given below. Please share this video, please like this video, please subscribe to my channel, and till we meet some other time with some other video, this is your friend, astrologer and guide Irfan signing off. Ciao.